So I am Seye Adelekan, musician, composer, artist. I mainly play with Gorillaz and with Damon Albarn. And we are here in Aarhus in the Baum HQ, factory, workshop, office. And we're here to pick up and play my custom pink thunder bass for the first time. So it's really, really, really exciting. Well, I'm from a relatively big family and it's quite creative. I'm the youngest of six, Nigerian dad, Kenyan mother, born in Nigeria, raised in the church. So there was like lots of music going on at home. We used to sing pretty much as a family every day, six nights a week, and then in church on Sundays and stuff. So I was always singing. There was always music. Dad was playing guitar, and which I think Mum actually taught him. And Mum's a musician, and so professionally, I've got two brothers who are professional musicians as well. So I grew up constantly surrounded by music, and we traveled a lot as well. Like I was born in Nigeria, then I moved to Holland, moved back to Nigeria, moved to England, and I finished my high school in Ecuador, and then moved back to England. So I was basically being trained to be a touring musician growing up, because I travel a lot for a living and I play music for a living. So where I've come from has definitely sort of shaped where I've ended up. Even though I didn't necessarily plan on becoming a professional musician, I was always playing music. I was in the choir, in all the choirs. I was playing flute in the concert band. I picked up guitar and started a little punk band. But I was going to go to university to study English. I just didn't really see how it could sort of work out as a career, but sort of fell into it. Well, my brother's a bass player, and it was kind of him initially. He was always playing at home, but he's got quite an interesting style. He used to do a lot of chords. He was in a 3-piece band called Akira, and guitar, drums, and bass. So he took quite a melodic. It was like quite melodic and quite chord-based, this playing, and that sort of was an initial introduction to playing bass. And then my first professional gig was playing with this guy called Jeremy Walmsley, also from summer camp, and I played bass in his band. But I was, I started playing guitar first, and I always sort of thought of myself as a guitarist. And then I started playing with Damon Albarn, and actually, it was something about playing with him that he was like, you really express yourself well on that bass, and sort of encouraged that side of me, and I sort of really, really took to it. And he's got a lot of material to play, so I got to try lots of different things and do lots of different interesting projects with him. So it's sort of been an evolution, even though I didn't necessarily think I was really a bass player initially, but I always loved bass players. Like Paul McCartney was probably one of my favorite bass players, and always loved his bass lines, again, because they're always melodic, like ding 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 ding. Such a great bass line. I always had an ear for that sort of thing. But then, my playing the instrument and love of the instrument has sort of grown. Right, so I finished high school in Ecuador in 2006, and then I moved back to the UK that August, and I was planning to go to uni. I think I was accepted to Warwick University to do English. Sort of big fan of writing, a big fan of books, and in particular sci-fi. So I thought I was going to potentially be some sort of writer. But I sort of took a gap year. I took a year out. I was just gonna. I didn't even know what the plan was. That wasn't really a plan. And at the time, I was sort of couch surfing. I was staying with one of my brothers, Yemi, and then I was also crashing with my brother Benga. And he was playing bass for this artist, Jeremy Walmsley, at the time. And me just sort of bumming about, not really doing anything. He was like, well, he needed cover for one particular tour. I think it was either November 2006 or November 2007. Somewhere around that time, I can't remember. It was like the end of a year. And he was just like, could you cover me or have a, try out, So I tried out and, I got the gig. Ended up working with Jeremy for quite a long time and still good friends today. But that sort of started this whole journey. Because as well as playing, doing session stuff, that led to me meeting I got an audition for Paloma Faith soon after that on guitar. Even though I took my bass, and I think I auditioned for bass and didn't get it. But I'd learned the guitar parts anyways and took my guitar down, and I played guitar while someone was auditioning for bass after me, and smashed it. Which led to me meeting someone, which led to, I think, my brother's girlfriend put me forward for an audition for something else, and it sort of perpetuated itself. And I was also writing my own songs and performing in open mic nights and getting gigs off MySpace myself, and trying to, juggling quite a lot of things, which led to me getting, eventually after a few years, it led to me getting a record deal with Mercury Records. Which was it was fun, but it didn't work out. But then, sort of at the tail end of that, when I was kind of burnt out, I got one of the people I was talking with so I was making sort of an Afro-pop record, and I ended up going to Senegal to just meet some great musicians and work with some people. And one of the contacts was this guy called Stephen Budd, who helps out with Africa Express, which is this project that Damon does, which gets African musicians and other Western musicians and puts them together, and we do different kinds of either like a trip somewhere or go into the studio somewhere, make a record in some different country or whatever. And yeah, I got invited to the 2012 Africa Express, which was taking a chartered train around the UK playing gigs. And I just met Damon on that tour. We just from playing together, we hit it off musically, and he sort of saw me playing with other people as well, and just like, do you want to jam with us? And I managed to play with Sir Paul McCartney at the end of that tour, which is pretty cool. That was my first time playing with him. I have played with him again, but that's something else. So I managed to play with him and Damon and Tony Allen and John Paul Jones, Led Zeppelin, this amazing Ngoni player called Baseku Kiate. It was a lot. And after that, Damon invited me out to Mali to make a record with Africa Express, and also asked me to be part of his first solo album tour, which is called Everyday Robots. And then after touring that for a couple of years and working with him on that, he invited me to get involved in Gorillaz. And yeah, I've just been, it's 10 years ago now that we met. So yeah, I've been working together for a while. Well, yeah, it's been such a crazy time for all musicians, and even like for yourselves, for people making instruments. And I think we're all looking forward to some kind of normality. But I think I'm going back into this year playing shows, but with newfound sense of gratitude, because, you know, you can get very used to playing gigs, and I mean, we all did. We got very used to playing gigs, and we took it for granted, and we'd just be moaning on tour sometimes, complaining about the schedule and all this stuff. And, you know, there are valid reasons to feel a bit down or run down or whatever on tour, but it's like it takes on a whole new meaning now, because people had something that's actually really quite special taken away, and a lot of governments failed the arts, especially I feel like they did in the UK. Lots of people are not going to be able to go back, and I'm thankfully in a position to get back to work, and we're going to be able to play some great shows this year, and I really look forward to getting back out in front of people. People are really going to be up for it. From what I see, people are very excited to get back to going to shows again, and I feel like we can't just think about it in the same way. We have to approach it with like humility and like something that can be taken away, because we just never thought that was possible. And it's like, actually everything is finite, everything can go. Nothing surprises me anymore. Like the past 2 years, like you cannot faze me. If the aliens come tomorrow, I'll be like, well, of course the aliens came. Like that was the only place this could have gone. Like, no, I feel grateful, and I feel just up for it. Like the shows this year are going to be blinding. They're going to be amazing, I hope. Well, there's a few. I love a song called Last Living Souls. I've always loved playing that song. It never gets old. Very few of the songs actually get old, actually. But Last Living Souls, because it's one of these songs that actually kind of changes every time I play it. There's a framework, but it's got a really cool, quite dub bass sort of feel to it. I play that one, a lot of it just with my thumb, sort of quite muted, and it's just always fun. Everybody, you can tell everybody just loves playing it, because everybody's just really enjoying themselves. Probably always have a smile on their face when we play that. It's quite near the beginning of the set in general, so it's like people are just that top of the set energy within the first like 5 songs is just like people are still just like, oh, this is happening. So yeah, Last Living Souls I love. Kids with Guns is always fun. I love what else actually? There's quite a lot. There's a lot. Obviously, like your Clint Eastwoods and your Feel Good Inks are always, they're always crowd pleasers, and those ones are really fun. But yeah, I think number 1 actually would be Last Living Souls. That's my favorite to play. God bless the internet, because people want to say a lot about, say, Instagram and stuff like that, but I've actually managed to make quite a lot of really great connections, especially during the pandemic when we couldn't go anywhere. Instagram and like online has been how I found out and got in contact with you guys here at Baum, and is how we've stayed connected and have passed information back and forth, and that's how we sort of got connected, and it's actually how it's facilitated a lot of really good things in my life in the past couple of years. In particular, I'm grateful for having met you guys and found each other online. Cool shapes. I just thought the guitars look really, really cool, and I also just like the name Baum. Just sounded like, oh, Baum. I was just sort of saying, it's like, oh, Baum. But I just thought the looks of the guitars had this sort of kind of classic look, almost like a classic car. But there was also something kind of future, sort of contemporary about it. So I was like, oh right, so it looks like it could be this from the '60s, or it could be from now. I'm like, there's something quite nice about that. That was sort of drawn to. It was great. I mean, thankfully, so I came here like months ago and managed to. I think I played everything you had on the wall, and number one, they all were great. But actually, I think you mentioned this. Each guitar I picked up made me play differently, and that's actually that doesn't happen with everything. Like. Each guitar felt like it had its own personality and felt like it wanted to be played in a certain way, which sounds really wishy-washy, but like that's how I felt. Literally, certain like things just felt more appropriate for something, you know. So I like how different the guitars are. Again, they're not just different colors and different shapes for the sake of it. It seems like they all do different things, and you can get different things out of them. And that's just how I play them. And I'm sure you see your Baum artists playing them in lots of different contexts, in different bands, and each person plays it differently, however they play it. So I think they've got cool personality, and you can bring whatever you want to the guitars. Well, again, the Wingman, to me, there's something classic, but then there's also something contemporary about it. Like it's got that like offset feel, like almost maybe like you could say like a Jaguar or something like that, which I always like. I like something that's a slightly sort of different shape, you know. It doesn't just look like any other shape. But again, there's just something quite sort of classic about it. And not to say that I just like things that are classic, but I think it doesn't look like it's not going to look dated in like 10 years, which is something that I really like. No, I was just drawn to that instrument. And when I came here and I played some stuff, it just immediately sort of made sense to me. But speaking about sort of the design process, I mean, I like simplicity, which I think you guys like as well. And that's one of the reasons why I love the sound of those pickups, but I just wanted one, because again, with just one pickup, one volume knob and one tone knob. It's just less complicated. Then actually the onus it's more on the guy who's playing, or the person who's playing the instrument, to bring something to it. I think a lot of instruments are overcomplicated, and you end up getting lost in just technical stuff, and like you play a certain note and you hit the wrong switch and something goes off. And but I think with a simpler guitar, anybody can play it. And I can bring anything to it. I can play that in a rock context. I could play it in a folky context. I could play it in a pop context. I could play it with a dub reggae band or something. Like, it can do anything. And that's what I think you get when you make something really, really simple. It reflects the player. And I'm really, really glad to say that this guitar does that. I mean, obviously the paint job is pretty crazy. So that's not for everybody. But it's based on my suits that I'm wearing for Gorillaz, based on a song called "The Pink Phantom," which is a Gorillaz song featuring Elton John. And in the video for this song, Sir Elton John is wearing this pink suit with these lightning bolts and stuff. And as soon as I saw that, I said to Jamie Hewlett, who's the artist, I was like, dude, I've got to make that. And I just made the suit. Which I think is a pretty good look. And then we were working on this guitar, and we ended up sort of working that into the guitars. Like, how can we make this even more unique to me? And like, sort of pink, and then the lightning bolt as the scratch plate was the master stroke. You guys did. I think that was so cool. And then I thought about putting how can we, looking at the neck of the guitar, it's like, should we just do, what inlays should we do? And again, I sort of like things kind of simple, but then just thought to keep that lightning theme going, put the lightning bolt across the 11th, 12th, 13th frets, which I think looks really great. And yeah, it's all super well made. Like it's crazy, the quality and the attention to detail, and it's just like no instrument I've ever played. The instrument's quite important to the look, and I'm not just saying things have to just look good, because there's nothing worse than just something that looks good but sounds terrible. But I've got a lot of instruments that they have a unique look to them, but they also serve a purpose sonically. I think, with the kind of performer that I am, in the sort of projects that I'm involved in, and really just the kind of person that I am, the image is quite important, and having something that is memorable to look at, I think just adds to the overall effect, just adds to how fun this can be. Because I think at the end of the day, it's, I enjoy what I do, and it's quite fun to do, and I want people to leave a show with a smile on their face. And I'm starting to get sort of some really cool instruments, and this is like by far going to be the coolest. And I just know that it's going to be, some kid is going to come to see a show for the first time and see this guitar, and their eyes are going to pop out their head, and it's just going to be such a memorable moment. And it's, at the end of the day, it's about making good memories with people. So hopefully this is going to be achieved. Besides me, who would want to play a pink fancy bass? I think a lot of people, and actually I think a lot of people don't know they want to play it yet. They'll see it and they'll be like, oh, that's what I've been missing. But you know what? Besides the way it looks, which I suppose it's quite it's a very striking looking guitar. But I think just looking at how simple it is, anybody can play this guitar. Like literally one pickup, a volume knob, and a tone knob. Like it doesn't really get much more, except we could get rid of the tone knob, I guess. But it's a very, very accessible instrument. I've had a bit of time to play it now, and it feels really good. It sounds great. And again, it's like you play it and you use your thumb, it sounds different. You play it when you're playing with your fingers. It sounds different when you're playing with your pick. You can get a whole spectrum of sounds without any pedals, just from doing that. I think it's going to be actually really universal who can play this thing, because it's so simple. I think the band is going to react. I think everyone's eyes are going to pop out of their heads when they see this guitar for the first time. The way they reacted, just the suit. When I turned up with a pink suit for the first time, they were all like, "Oh my goodness, what's going on here?" So with the suit now, the levels have been taken even higher with the guitar. But even more than that, when they hear it as well, they're gonna be like, "Oh damn! Like that thing doesn't just look good. That thing is actually a really great sounding guitar." I was just saying, like, my front of our sound technicians are gonna really love the sound of it. It's gonna be great. Going through my Ampeg rig, it's gonna be great. But yeah, they're gonna lose it. They're gonna see it and they're gonna be like, what? Of course you've got a pink guitar. That's probably what they're gonna say.